Donc, so what I understood quite clearly is that these individuals in a very restricted area of the entire country are involved are wishing for an armed conflict because so far they have already breached the ethical rules. More to that, the behavior of forced marriage and taking hostages has resurfaced, and from the best hypothesis or the best theory is that the best hypothesis or the best theory is that because the 90s were such a harsh time, it gave them about 12 to 13 years of divine and clarity of thoughts. Having said that, I asked my neighbors if they have seen these particular individuals. I have filed a report about it, and apparently, it's an individuals that I have a conflict of position, and apparently, so far, they have managed basically. This is the event of September 2017, October 2017. Is like when someone come from the outside world, which they know, they uh, they rape his acquaintances. This is not normal, and it's not an identity crisis that I have. These are these are geopolitical goals, and these are goals that these individuals are involved in some sort of a paramilitary activity. Having said that, I should not forget the behavior of those people in Sweden. And I have this, I was cursed with neighbors, and apparently, when I went, they did a search and they have found my belongings, including my graduation certificate and a resident permit from a former politician. And since they have not been involved in any way into straightening out my situation, what do? They ask about the validity of those documents, meaning like if they are fake or true documents. And they ask that in relation to something coming from basically after I wrote to the government offices of Sweden, and after I wrote to the Swedish Royal Court, and after I wrote to the and my university is tightly linked with all of the industrial zones of activity in Sweden. In the case of Austria, this has arrived from a former chancellor, and all of these events are true. And yes, uh, after the hell living that I have received in Sweden in 2017, and after basically gaining something truthful, and in 2017 it was the in summer 2017 it was the Congressional Medal of Honor. Later on, I went on to the I went on to here. I arrived in this town on September 9th, 2017. Climbing up the stairs on the second floor, the neighbor living at 8 said, uh, you are blacklisted as a terrorist." And that was a month later. And on September 8th, through I went through all the legal Swedish institution. Then I took a flight. Then I landed in Paris. I had something that I brought to the Elysee Palace. And then I arrived in Algeria. And then the airport police just didn't do anything. And it was basically individuals who are, because of the events of Sweden and everything and the assessment that they have been doing, it feels that it was plans in order to basically trap individuals who come to this. It was a hostage taking plans. It was plans in order to take hostages. Maybe some of them are parents, and the dad would say like, "Hi kid," or "Hi girl." Uh, I don't know where is your mom or what happened to her. And it comes from individuals who do not work. They have money and they stole that money. And apparently, even when they are married, they search for trouble and they try to commit acts that violate that is against family law. And we are basically living this two state what we are saying is like we are living in stateless grounds. uh, However, in regard to my situation, uh, the people in Sweden and which were involved in those events in Sweden against me were way out of line. And when I tried to move to start basically a new life with like a salary and everything, it was something which is nurtured from jealousy that has happened. And when a lawmaker and someone in position ask himself is what would have happened if everything went normally on February 2nd, 2017. February 2nd, 2017. That was 3 weeks after President Donald Trump was appointed as President of the United States. It was January 20. The ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, went to her position on January 24th, 2000, 2014, and both of them, they are individuals that I share the same values with, and they are not individuals seeking my harm. And that was 10, 13 days. And if everything went normally, what would have happened? And then when I was to be like an individual who should be involved in the affairs related to the SDGs, when I was at the peak, and later on, the the other disaster, man-made disaster of summer 2018, and personally, I would send them to another planet.